Okay. Hi, Mommy.
Hey, daughter.
Okay, so I always get a lot of questions about people asking like how I remain healthy and stuff, and I always say that my mom is kind of a health nut as well and has always been. So just want to get your thoughts on like diet versus having a lifestyle and just your journey to being healthy and what your goals are for the future. So where how do you feel like your childhood contributed to you eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle?
What's interesting is that I was raised by my grandmother, and she was born in the early 1900s. And so when you think about that time, you think about how people were just surviving. And so when you think about African Americans surviving, they're surviving off of the wrong things because it's cheap, it's inexpensive, and you can feed a whole family with little to nothing. But even back then, she was cooking healthy. She didn't fry much, she boiled a lot, she broiled a lot, she baked a lot. And so she was teaching us how to eat healthy back then. When I think about my aunts and uncles, they've always lived a healthy lifestyle. They always have focused on the type of things they're putting in their body. They've exercised, walked faithfully. I think about my uncle and my aunts, and they're just walking nuts because they love to walk. So that's always been a part of my life. So as I got older, raising a child and another child and just focusing on work, it was a matter of convenience. So I kind of got off course and got to eating in fast food restaurants, really not focused on what I was putting into my body, but as long as I was putting something in there to feed my hunger, it was okay with me, not thinking about the types of things that I was putting in there. So then I got to dieting. That was where you just following this strict regimen and you're focused on what am I going to do to get the weight off, which I realize that's just a temporary thing. And so once you get off that diet, you always rebound, but I rebound with a little more extra weight than I had when I started.
And why do you think that is?
Because I really wasn't focused on healthy living. I was more focused on how do I get the weight off really quick. And so I just had to start changing my thinking. I got tired of that roller coaster of a diet wave or whatever you want to call it, or a fad or whatever it is, but more focused on what do I need to do to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And so I started thinking about my portion control is some of the things that I need to focus on, because while I love to eat, I realize I don't have to have as much as I usually put in my body. I usually put more in than I really need. And then I had to think about, why am I doing that? Why am I eating the way I'm eating? And then I realized a lot of it was mindless eating. And that's pretty much just putting something in your mouth for the sake of putting something in your mouth, not really listening to your body and focus on when am I really hungry versus when I'm not hungry. And what's interesting is that I looked at you and I looked at Kendall, which is 16. You would think because she's 16 and all her friends are in the fast food wave, what impressed me about you guys, that you only ate when you were hungry. So you were listening to your bodies. So I learned from you guys in that regard and focused on what do I do to maintain a healthy lifestyle versus living in the moment. So that's what I focused on. I started eating a lot more fruits, a lot more vegetables, thinking about the portion sizes that I was taking in. I started slowly incorporating walking and things like that. And I love how I feel now. I love where I am in my walk, so to speak. And I'm hoping that because I've made the shift in my life, that I'll be inspiration to other women my age.
So how do you think all of that is going to help you in the future?
Well, right now, I've been taking 2 medications for high blood pressure, which is somewhat is predisposed. In other words, that means that my family has a history of it. I haven't gone back to the doctor to see if I could come off these medications, because one thing I do know is that I've taken less sodium. I've dropped a lot of weight because I'm watching what I eat, not that I'm trying to reach for something, but I'm just focused on that healthy lifestyle, as I mentioned, and my goal is to be able to come off of those medications and to be medication free as a result of me maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Not only that, I'm hoping that I live longer. I'm hoping that as a result of me shifting my focus on how I'm eating, that I will have a beautiful life with my family and my husband now. Prior to that point, I wasn't really so sure because I wasn't eating the right things. I wasn't doing the right things for my body. So I'm hoping that by doing those things that I would have added a few more years to my life as well.
What inspired you to go natural, Mother?
Well, you did. Number one. And just even beyond that, there was years in between when you went natural and then me going natural. But it was just I wanted to do something where I was not so much focused on my hair or, how I was looking that day as it relates to my hair, but what can I do so I could be feeling a lot more liberated than I am? And I actually felt bound by getting my hair done every other week or putting chemicals in my hair every other week. So when I look back and think about your natural cut and how you kind of coaxed me in that direction, and how my husband welcomed the fact that I did it, one of the best decisions I made when it came to my hair.
And how long has your hair been cut like this, Mom? Like 7 years?
No, not that quite.
Not that long?
Probably about 3 to 4 years.
Okay. And do you think you'll ever let it grow back out?
No. I'm actually looking forward to the gray that's going to come in. I know that sounds crazy, but I celebrate my life, and I don't look at gray as a sign of aging, but I look at gray as a sign of wisdom and, oh, by the way, you're gray and you still got it going on. That's how I see it.
Ow! Okay, so tell everybody bye, Mom.
Bye.